A warm welcome again back to the second lecture in the series. Uh, let's take a revision of what we studied in the last lecture. I introduced the Income Tax Act 1961 thereout, where we studied that what is the meaning of tax, that we defined as a compulsory financial charge or some other type of levy which is imposed by a government in order to meet the expenses for the welfare of the people. Then we studied the types of taxes. The major division, if we see, we do have two types of taxes, that is the direct tax and the indirect tax. To differentiate these two, we do keep a demarcation that where the taxpayer is liable to pay the tax directly, means he is when he is supposed to file the return of the tax, that is considered as a direct tax. And the examples that we can quote for it are income tax, wealth tax, etc. And on the other hand, indirect taxes are ultimately paid by the consumer only, but they are paid via different channel. Like the consumer may be paying it to the retailer, to the wholesaler, or some other mediator in between, maybe directly to the manufacturer, and then they are supposed to file the return to the government. Beyond that, we studied the taxation powers of union and state governments, where we studied about the union list, which gives powers to the central government, considered as list 1. Then we talked about the list 2, that is called a state list, which gives the state government to make the make the laws related to the taxation. And then list 3 is the concurrent list, in which the decisions are taken jointly by the central and the state government both. Then we saw the major sources of income tax law in India. Thereout we studied that we do have the Income Tax Act 1961, which is being enforced in India since 1962. And thereon, in support of that, we do have annual finance acts. We do have income tax regulations or rules, we can say, 1962. We do have CBDT, that is Central Board of Direct Taxes, and judicial decisions since then that have been performed since then. Okay, let's continue with our today's lecture. I would like to quote that if you people are facing any problem, you may write a mail to me. My mail ID is there with you all. I'll again quote it for your reference: rashigupta.gn@jagannath.org. Okay, let's begin. Today I'm going to take few important concepts, or we can say terms, which are come again and again repetitively used while we would be studying the Income Tax Act 1961. The first term in this scenario is assessment year. As I'm saying year, thereout you get to know that it is a period of 12 months. But why am I calling it as assessment year? What is the meaning of word assessment? If you see the generalized meaning of the term, the dictionary meaning of the term assessment, that you would that you would get to know as calculation. While you calculate something, so assessment year is the year where you assess, right? Let us see in what context we use it in Income Tax Act 1961 and how we use it in the terminology of taxation. Let us start with it. It is a period of 12 months starting from 1st April and ending on 31st March. From here you got to know that I'm talking about a financial year only, starting from the month of April and ending in the month of March in the respective year. Like here, if we quote about the year as the assessment year 2019-20, if I say, take an example of it, if I am talking about assessment year 2019-20, from where it would start from 1st April 2019 and it would end on 31st March 2020. It's written wrong there out, I'll correct it. It's 31st March 2020. Okay. It is a year in which the income of the previous year is to be assessed. Means this is the present year in which we are calculating the tax on the income that you have earned in the previous year, just preceding year to it. income of a previous year of an assessee is taxed during the next following assessment year at the rates which are prescribed by the relevant Finance Act. This statement is having two parts to understand. First is that the tax is calculated on the rate which is prescribed by the relevant Finance Act. First thing. Second thing, that income of the assessee is calculated in the assessment year, and that income belongs to the previous year, means that the just preceding year to that particular assessment year. Maybe seeming to be confusing, but let's clarify it a bit more by taking certain example further. Like suppose if I talk about the current assessment year, it is 2020-21, which has already commenced from 1st of April 2020 and will be ending next year on 31st March 2020-21. So this period is actually always fixed without any change in the two dates, 1st April to 31st March. So income which is earned in the previous year, means the financial year prior to this period from 1st of April to 31st of March to 2021, and that previous year would be from 1st of April 2019 to 31st March 2020. The income which is earned during the previous year is taxed during the assessment year according to the rates of tax which are prescribed by the Annual Finance Act. So what happens, that all the assessees whose previous year ended on 31st March 2020 will be taxed during the current assessment year, that is 2021. Okay, I hope the term assessment year is clear. So if I sum up in a single statement, how would you say that? It is the year in which the tax is calculated. Very simple. Okay, and the tax is calculated on the income which is earned in the previous year. Obviously, like if I am calculating, see, there is no particular date that when we are calculating the tax, though we have certain deadlines that by 30th of June or 31st of July, or in this COVID era, certain extensions are being given to that. By that particular time, you have to file the return for an individual I'm talking about. So in that situation, there is no fixed date that when you will be calculating. So how would you get to know that till that particular time how much you have earned or not? So what we do, suppose if I'm calculating my income on if I'm getting my income assessed on 15th of April, okay, 15th April 2020. So will I be able to do it for the current financial year, which started from 1st April 2020 and will be ending next year 2020-21? I know I am a salaried person, my income is fixed, but still, would I know that I won't have any additional income beyond the salaried income? Quite possible we can have more income under different heads. So we do not calculate the tax of the current scenario, we calculate the tax of the previous year. Means that we pay the tax of the previous year in the current year. So that year, because we are calculating tax of the previous year in that particular year, for that assessment purpose, it is considered or called as assessment year. So whenever we are talking about assessment year, this means that we are assessing the tax of the previous year. Very simple. Okay, now let's see that what previous year is. I am again and again using previous year term here. So let us see that what previous year actually refers to. So previous year, as the name is suggesting, it is the year preceding. Or in the term of taxation, if I call about, it is the year in which the income is earned. Let us see, income earned in a year is taxable in the next year. The year in which the income is earned is known as the previous year. And when the income is earned, you calculate it after that particular year ends. The next year in which the income is being taxed is known as assessment year, that we have just seen. So it is the financial year immediately preceding the assessment year. Suppose let's take an example again in relation to the assessment year 2020-21, means that if I am talking about the current assessment year, what would be the previous year? The financial year immediately preceding this particular year, that is 2019-20, which began on 1st of April 2019 and ended on 31st March 2020 is the previous year. Means if I am filing my return at the current point of time, at this particular day today, if I am filing my return, this means that I will be filing my return for the previous year, that is 1st of April 2019 to 31st March 2020. Okay. Now there is a further extension to this concept of previous year. If you see previous year in case of a newly set up business, profession, or a new source of income. See, we do not start our business keeping taxation in mind, that we will be beginning our business on 1st of April only because we have to calculate the tax from 1st of April only. It does not happen like that. Businesses are being started, or any new source of income can be generated randomly according to the situations. So how to calculate tax, how to consider the previous year in such kind of situations? In this we have two parts, that is the first previous year, and the next is the second and the subsequent previous years. Let us try and understand this. It is the period which commences from the date of setting up of the business or profession. Means the date on which I have started my business would be from that date till the 31st March, the upcoming 31st March would be called as the first previous year. Now, this period can be 12 months if the business is started on 1st April. It can be less than 12 months if I had started my business in mid, but it cannot exceed 12 months. Let us take an example and understand this. Suppose if I start my business on 1st of September. In that situation, the previous year would be counted from 1st of September till the following 31st March. And second and subsequent previous year, they are always of 12 months each from April to March, means any years subsequent to that particular year. I will discuss this more by taking an example in this practice part. Suppose X starts a new business on 20th of October 2018. Okay, so what is the first and the second previous years for him? We have to check out the previous years. So let us see, the first previous year will be the period commencing from 20th of October 2018 to the point ending on 31st March 2019. The income of this previous year will be taxed in the assessment year, means the next year, that is 2019-20, and the second previous year will be 2019-20, and the income of which will be taxable in the assessment year 2021, and subsequently it will go like that. So there is only change that in the year in which the business has started, instead of starting it from 1st of April 2018, we are starting it from 20th October 2018. Why? Because the business was not in existence before that particular date. So how can we start it from 1st of April? And mind that that particular year in which the business has started will only have the period less than or equal to 12 months. It cannot exceed 12 months, and it is that only particular year in which you can have the number of months lesser than 12 months, because any business can be started on any odd date. Okay. Let us see, there are certain exceptions. I would say that you need to keep patience while studying Income Tax Act. See, it is very interesting. I told you people before as well, but it may be sometimes lengthy. Let us see certain exceptions, that when, in what situations that previous year is not taxable in the immediately following assessment year. There are certain exceptions which does not fall in the normal situation. First, that income of a non-resident from shipping business if the person is earning. Income of a person leaving India either permanently or for a longer period of time. Income of bodies formed for short duration, which were formed for a very short duration of period of time, means that they were not going concerns. Income of person trying to alienate his assets with a view to avoid payment of tax. Income of discontinued business, if you have shut down your business. So in these cases, what happened? The income of a previous year may be taxed as the income of the assessment year immediately preceding the normal assessment year. So these were just few exceptions. Now comes a very, very important topic. If you see, this is the very first section that I am talking about here, and the section is, see, mind that wherever I will be talking about sections, the sections belongs to Income Tax Act 1961. Section 2, subsection 31. That is the way how we read it. You must have seen that in business law in the previous semester. Section 2, subsection 31 defines the term person, and this definition is quoted with a view of taxation. From the taxation point of view, this term is being defined here. Okay. Now let us see what all is there. See, you need to learn these 7 points by heart. Okay, it is not at all difficult because you will be doing the assessments in the next upcoming chapters on these particular heads only. So, who is the first person? An individual. This can be an individual who earns income in a normal situation, maybe salaried, maybe from business, and from other sources. We will see that what kind of sources are there. We will see in the next upcoming lectures in that. Next type of person that can be there is a Hindu undivided family. I hope you know the definition of this. It is a business which is formed under the Hindu Undivided Family Act. Then we do have a company, and I hope you all know the meaning of the term company. It's a very usual term for you all. Then we have firm. I hope you know the difference between a firm and a company. I must quote something like company is registered under the Companies Act, and a firm can be a proprietorship firm, can be a partnership firm, or so. Now let us see the last 3 parts. See, first 4 you had an idea that what I'm talking about. If I'm saying that the partnership firm of Rakesh and Mahesh, you would say that ma'am, it will fall in the category 4 because it is a firm. If I talk about the Karta, Mr. Ramesh, and his business, you will say that it will fall under the category 2, the Hindu undivided family. The last 3 categories are a bit new for you. Let me try and clarify it for you. Fifth is an association of persons or body of individuals, whether it is incorporated or not. Means it is not mandatory that whether it is registered with some government body or not. Means it can be registered, it can be unregistered. So let us see that what is the difference between these two. And I must tell you that these are used many a times synonymously. This association of persons and a body of individuals convey to different arrangements of people actually in the terms of taxation. And they are actually used interchangeably, but it does not justify the restrictive interpretation. Okay. The Indian Income Tax Act 1961 defines AOP, that is Association of Persons, as an integration of persons for a mutual benefit or a common purpose. On the other hand, BOI, that is Body of Individuals, is similar to an AOP and is also an accumulation of individuals who have come together with an objective of earning some income. However, there are certain differences between these. If I say AOP has a legal meaning and it represents a unit having duties and rights. In this, I can give you a very simple example. You can see that if there is a firm of chartered accountants who are pooling up their resources together to earn and then do it. Okay. Now let's move to the next, that is the local authority. Local authority, you know, the municipalities, municipal corporations and the other ones. And last category is the every juridical person not included in any of the above categories that we have mentioned. Rest, leaving, if any person who is having a existence in the eyes of law and does not fall in any of the previous 6 categories will be called up in this last category and will be considered for the taxation purpose. Now let us take an example through this practice question and see how the things happen. Now let us determine the status of these one by one. Let me discuss. First of all, Delhi University. If I check up from 1 to 7, it's not an individual, it's not an HUF, not a company, it's not a firm. Is it an association of persons or a body of individuals? I don't think so. There are no individuals, there are departments, there are colleges, and so is it a local authority? No, it is not a local authority. So obviously it will be falling under the last category as an artificial juridical person, because it is not falling in any of the preceding categories, means it is not falling in the first 6 categories. So Delhi University you would consider as an artificial juridical person. Let's move next. DCM Limited. Very simple. Many of you would raise hand and say, ma'am, it is a company. Okay. Delhi Municipal Corporation. Very easy. Second last, a local authority. Vikas Publishing House. Now think of, what is it? Is it a firm? No, it is a company. Okay. Then ABC Group Housing Cooperative Society. Again, a company. Then next is A, B and company means it is a firm of a person A and person B. Now tell me this one. What is it? Take 10 seconds. Click it in your mind that what it is. A, B and company. It is a firm of X and Y. I am giving you the answer in the question itself that it is a firm. Okay. There got a mistake. ABC Group Housing Cooperative Society. Is it a company? No, it is an association of persons. Rectify that. Okay, let's move to the H point. A joint family of X, Mrs. X, and their sons A and B. Very easy. It is HUF, Hindu undivided family. Then let's move to the next, that is I. P and Q, who are legal heirs of Z, and Z died in 2006, and P and Q are carrying on his business without entering into partnership. What is it? It is an association of persons. Last, Hindustan Unilever Limited is a company. Very simple. So if I quote, let's see once again. Delhi University, artificial juridical person. DCM Limited, company. Delhi Municipal Corporation, local authority. Vikas Publishing House, a company. Lakshmi Commercial Bank Limited, what it is? Company. Okay. ABC Group Housing Cooperative Society, it's an association of persons. AB and company, it is a firm, a joint family of X, Mrs. X and their son. A and B, Hindu undivided family. P and Q, who are legal heirs of Z, and the person died lately and they are carrying on his business without entering into partnership. So it is association of persons. Hindustan Unilever Limited, it is a company. Very simple. I hope you all enjoyed the session and have understood the three basic terms. Assessment year, in which the income is calculated, previous year, where you earn the income and it is get taxed in the assessment year, and the next is person. Person includes 7 categories. Thank you so much for the day.